I want to talk about clarity. Now, I like to do, when I talk, I like for you to engage. Does that sound fun? Because we're in a meeting, and sometimes when you're with adults, it's like teaching, elementary, right? We all got to be engaged, right? We want to be ready. You know what the hardest part about teaching is, right? There's teaching teachers, and then there's teaching realtors. It's really tough, right? So I want to get you through this. This is an hour-and-a-half presentation, and I want to knock this out in about 15 minutes. That sound like fun? That sound good? 15 minutes? I got to talk really, really fast. All right, give me 20, and we'll call it even. That sound fair? 20? All right, Gabe, you got me? Here we go. So I want to talk about the word clarity. So here's my question. When you hear that word, what comes to mind? Clarity. What comes to mind? Purpose. I love that. What else? Power. I love that. What else? Precision. Okay. So lots of different words come to mind when you think of that word. But what I want to talk about is what I've started to find in my life as I've gone down this road of personal development, speaking. Clarity is a pathway to sustained motivation. Having clarity is so important as an agent. And that's what I want to talk about today. I don't want to go into this. You know who I am. I'm super humbled and honored to be here. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Michelle gave me the call. She said, listen, can you talk about some mid-year motivation and some ideas? And I said, I got you. Here we go. So here's the challenge. The PBC team has challenged every agent to run the San Antonio Marathon. Who's in? Oh, I like this. I have some hands up. All right. Now, how many of you, when you heard that, are like, there's no way, not going to happen? Anybody felt that way? Right? Not going to happen. I love that. I love that. I love that. But thanks for your honesty. Now, here's the deal. The thing about this is, if I ask you some clarifying questions, for most of you, your first reaction to saying, hey, the team is asking for you to run a marathon, and your response is going to be? No. What do you think you're going to ask? How long? When? Oh, I like that question. That's a good question. Well, when is it? It's in December. First weekend in December. Is it a relay? I love that. Can we partner up? I'm going to get a team of 10. We're going to make this happen. I love it. The reality is that for a lot of people, their first response is going to be, why would I want to do that? Why? Why would I want to subject myself to running for 26.2 miles, right, in the San Antonio heat? Well, it makes me think about this. My son, anybody know what this is? Who knows? All right, I love this. These are Heelys, right? So my son was obsessed with Heelys. I mean, obsessed. He talked about it day and night. That's all he talked about. Now, I like for my mom and dad, grandparents, I want them to be the hero. So what do you think I did? I said, hey, you should buy him these shoes. See, that works both ways, doesn't it? It works for me and it works for them, right? So she buys the shoes. Grandma buys him the shoes. He gets the shoes. He was like an octopus on roller skates. Have you ever seen a kid try these for the first time? It's hilarious. He was he was literally all over the place. So my brain goes, hey, we should probably watch some YouTube videos to see how to figure this out. So we start watching the YouTube videos, and as he's watching the videos, he's like, look at how they're moving around, and they're just zigzagging. He goes, I want to do that. So we started to learn. Now, how long do you think it took him to learn how to do Heelys? You said 1 day? That's really close. It was about a day and a half. He was rocking and rolling. No worries. Now, here's the thing. He had clarity. He knew what he wanted. Number one, he wanted the shoes, right? But what he really wanted after watching the videos, what was his reasoning? Why did he want the shoes?
To do those things.
So he could do the little weaving out. He's like, I want to go to H-E-B, and I want to weave down the little aisles at H-E-B, right? That was his thing, you know? So see, the thing about clarity is that clarity always goes back to your reasons. And I love this quote. We hold these truths self-evident that all men and women are created equal, though most do not live equal lives due to differences in will, motivation, effort, and habit. Now, this presentation was from a book called The Motivation Manifesto. which is an amazing book. Has anybody read that book? I highly recommend it, Motivation Manifesto. But the idea that you see here is that the difference, sometimes you'll look, sometimes you'll look at the numbers and you're like, man, she did it again. She's number one or he's number one. And you're like, how are they consistently and persistently always at the top? There are people that separate themselves, yes or no? Yes, right? There are people that separate themselves. Where does that come in? It's a difference of will and motivation, effort and habit. But I will say that really the difference comes to motives. It comes down to knowing what you want and having the motives. Now, what are motives? That's simply reasons. What are your reasons for what you want? And so reasons help solidify clarity. They help you solidify knowing, hey, I want this. Now I need to find the reasons why I want it. For Enzo, it was looking cool at HEB, right? So now for you, here's my question, and I want an answer. I just say it out loud. How can realtors create clarity in their business? Ooh, what'd you say? Say it out loud.
Set goals.
High five. Set goals. I love it. Keep coming.
Written plan.
What? What did you say? Say that again.
Written plan.
Oh, a written plan. High five. I love it. Having a written plan. Now, what would we call that in business? Goal setting or a business plan, right? A business plan. Now, here's the interesting thing. After talking to a lot of realtors, the one thing that I start to learn is that planning is really not high on the scale of realtor priorities because there's so many plates spinning. There's so many things going on. It's like I just want to put out all the fires and then I'll think about planning. But then what happens? Another fire breaks out, right? And so the reality is if you want to create clarity, here's what you got to do. You got to sit down and figure out what you want. What is it that you want? And then when you know what you want, you've got to start deciding, okay, because this is what I always hear. I'll say an agent goes, I want to do 15 million next year, right? Anybody ever set a volume goal? Like I want to do an X amount, okay? So I want to do X amount this year. Now, that sounds great in theory, that you're getting clarity, but now I need to ask you, well, why do you want to make 15 million? Right? So if I ask anybody here, why would you want to do 15 million? Tell me a reason. Why would you want to do 15 million in business? Commission. He said more money. I love it, right? But think about it. More money is great, but give me more. Why? Support my family. Okay, keep coming. Buy the condo in Palmilla. I love it. I love it. Yes. Yes and yes. What else? Ooh, I love that. Recognition. Knowing that I did it. What'd you say? Cash flow, right? How many like to travel? Any travelers in here? Where are my cruisers at? Ooh, you like to cruise too? I am a cruiser. We love to cruise, all right? Love it. Now, what if your reasoning was, I want to go on 5 cruises in 1 year? Whoa, like how many of you just said, wait a minute, that's a lot of cruises, right? But think about it. If your reason is I want to do 5 cruises, the working towards 15 million is very different than going, I just got to get to 15 million. There's a purpose behind it. There's clarity to where you're going and why you're going there. Now, how does clarity help you as an agent? How is that going to help you as an agent? I love that. Clarity are going to give you those stair steps to where you want to go. Love that. What else? Focus. You now have something to focus on. I have a written plan. I have goals that I wrote down. But more importantly, I have my motivation. The motivation comes from those reasons, right? All of that comes together. Now, how many of us, who works out? Like you work out regularly. You like to work out. Now, those of you who regularly work out, think about this. Are there days where you get up and go, not today? The people who work out, right? They work out 4 or 5 days a week. Even those people will get up and go, not today. The motivation is not going to carry you through. But for me, I have a reason why I do it. I have a specific reason that I'll share in a minute. So clarity will help you. Now, I want to go through some of the ideas that were expressed in this book that I think will kind of broaden the conversation. It's still about this idea of clarity, but it'll broaden it just a bit. So reach for freedom, not fear. Here's the interesting thing that I see in real estate, because I was an agent. I don't know, most people know that I have my license. I was an agent prior to starting the magazine. Fear was given to us as a motive to avoid physical harm and death. That's what fear is naturally. It's a natural response, but it's a natural response for us to avoid dying. Now, how many of us have feared making a phone call? Raise your hand. You know you have. How many of us know that there was a phone call that we needed to make and we were like, I can't, let me get some coffee. Right? I need to get some water. I can't do it. The reality is there are things that we fear that would never kill us, and yet we still get afraid. And what I want to share with you is reach for freedom, because now that you have clarity in what you want, now that you have your reasons, you know you want to go on 5 cruises in 1 year, you go, psst. Yeah, Bill, yep, you're going to have to lower the price. That's just all. I'm sorry, Bill, you got to lower the price. All right, that's just all there is to it. You were too high to begin with. I told you that. Those phone calls now become easier. Why? Because you have clarity and you have reasons for moving the ball down the field, moving the deal down the field. Engage your motivation with clarity. Our mind's clarity on and commitment to that choice dictates our level of motivation. And I believe this. When clarity is really high, right, think back to something that you really, 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 really wanted. Now, I did this presentation. It was the first time I ever did it, and it always evolves. But I asked, tell me something that you really, really wanted, because it's a longer presentation. And this gentleman stood up. He said, I wanted to be on stage with Mario Lopez. Okay. Tell me more. I needed to know more. His goal, like his thing was, I want to be on stage with Mario Lopez. It was like a game show or something like this. So literally all he did, he had clarity, he had his reasons. I'm not quite sure what the reason was with Mario Lopez, but for whatever reason, he wanted to be on stage with Mario Lopez. His clarity was really high, but guess what? What did that do to his motivation? Motivation, it was endless. He was going to do whatever it took. It took him 2 years. He ended up on a stage in some game show with Mario Lopez. Right? So the idea is this, is that in your mind is that you know what you want. There are things that we all know what we want. But sometimes we have to figure out the reason why we want it so that we'll actually get the motivation to go do it. A couple more here. So going back to my son's shoes, right? When he got these Heelys, he was like an octopus in roller skate. He had no idea what he was doing, but he had a reason why he wanted to wear these Heelys. Actions move us forward. This is so important. And because, it's like the chicken or the egg, right? Is it the motivation that's going to get us out of bed, or is it the action that's going to get us out of bed? Which one is it? Some days it's the motivation, right? Some days it's get your butt out of bed, right? It's just move, take one foot and get it out. And then it's like, now I got to stand up, right? Sometimes you just got to act your way into moving forward. We cannot attract or have that which we do not act towards. So if you say you want something and you have your reasons, but you're not willing to act towards it, you don't really want it. States of emotion, happiness is a choice. I'm a big believer in this. And this definitely causes some rifts with the family, because I'm a big believer that our state and our happiness, we choose. We can choose it. And every one of us we've had that real estate, the phone call, contract's coming in. Woo! $1.2 million house, we got a contract coming in. We're at a high, the contract comes in and they offered $850. Woo! Right? And we're just like, are you really? Like, we go through highs and lows. But in amidst of all of this, understand, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. And until you grab hold of that mindset to say, you know what, this isn't going to defeat me. The deal's not done, even though I got an offer, even though it sparks that little joy and that happiness. Now we got to get the ball down the field. I got to have action and know that we're going to make this work. I'm going to figure this out along with the other realtor who's crazy. We're going to figure this out together, all right? Open your mind to something greater, all right? Raise your hand if you've ever tried yoga. Who's tried yoga? Ooh, I love this. Okay. Hands down. Who has never tried yoga? Honestly. Oh, I love this. Okay. So my guys and gals that have never tried yoga, right? I want to tell you, it's weird at first. It's weird, right? The first few times, wife, I think she pulled me into the yoga room. Like I was pulled and forced in. And I just remember they were banging a drum. And I was like, I don't remember anything about drums being banged. Like, why are we banging drums, you know? But the idea here is open your mind to something greater. Try something new for the first time that you've never done. Because when you do that, when you're new at something, what starts to happen when you're new? What starts to happen the first time you do anything? Momentum. You learn. What were you going to say? Momentum. You put that foot forward and you're starting to move forward. And so you've got to open your mind. You are confined by the walls you build yourself. And sometimes we have what I call limiting beliefs. Ooh, I'm right on time. We have limiting beliefs, right? We have these beliefs that, well, I can't do yoga because my leg won't bend back like that. No, it's okay. Trust me, some of the yoga people's legs don't stretch back like that, right? So the idea is be open to try something new so that you can move forward. Need for expectancy. Like this is a thing that I love because this is, if you're a person of faith, there's like this idea that you've got to believe and then expect, right? There's this idea that you've got to, not only do I believe it, but I know it's coming. And I know that I already have it. It just hasn't showed up yet. And so there's this need. Desire without belief in self is ultimately deflating. And so understand that everybody in here could do 15, 20 million and beyond. Everybody could do 15, 20 million and beyond. There's enough business in San Antonio to do it. You have to wrap your mind around that concept to go, that's true. Because you're either going to have a mindset of abundance, that there's enough business out there, or you're going to have the mindset of scarcity, right? And so this idea is that if you have clarity, you know what you want, and you've got your reasons, because we're going to go on 5 cruises this next year, right? 5 cruises, right? You have your reasons why you want to make the money, and now what happens? Those walls start to slowly fall down because you know that it's coming. And then lastly, sustained motivation. You truly want to have sustained motivation. The sustaining choice of the motivation are thus attention and effort. If you truly want to have lasting motivation, number one, you've got to put the attention into your plan. You've got to be intentional because we're at mid-year. Now, by show of hands, how many of you feel like I'm right where I wanted to be from the beginning of the year? Who feels like they're right on pace? Anybody right on pace with what they did last year? Right on pace? Okay. How many of you feel like I'm behind? Okay, thank you for being honest. I'm behind. I love that. Now, here's the deal. We have 2 choices. We could say, well, 19 was a bust. Let's shut it down. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to quit? We're going to Kawhi our way right out of, just shut it down. I don't want to play anymore, right? No, that would be crazy, right? That doesn't make any sense. No, it's not one person in this room that would do that, would we? We're not going to quit. But what we will do sometimes is we will end up pulling our attention away from what we really need to do. We'll pull back in effort. I'm not going to quit, but I'm just not going to give as hard because last year was better than this year. And here's what I want to tell you. You want to finish out the year strong. Get clear on what it is you want and why you want it. Get really, really clear. What is it that you want? If you want to close, I sat down with a team yesterday. I was doing a team planning with a real estate team, and we sat down and we looked at last year. And in 3 months last year, they did $6 million in 3 months, this team. Okay, 3 months, 6 million. And I said, that was in 2018. I said, okay, well, we're going to make a 90-day plan. I want you to imagine if you sat down and made a 90-day plan. Okay, we did 6 million last year. Can we do 6 million in this, 6 million in 3 months? Can we do 6 million in the next? And by the way we're looking at the numbers were tracking. But I said, listen, without attention, without effort, if we just kind of mindlessly go, well, I hope I get a lead. I hope someone shows up to buy this house. No, you've got to put the clarity and know the reasons why you want it so that you can go out and get and exceed. I've seen people swing from mid-year, go for the last part of the year, because here's the thing in luxury. What do we know about December, November, December, and January about luxury? What I found, December, November, December, if you look at the stats, you see a pop. The people who want to buy start showing up. Anybody agree with that? Now, I've heard there's reasons for taxes. I've heard there's all kinds of different reasons. I don't know what it is. I haven't put my finger on it. But if you look at the numbers, you'll see a little blip in December where you'll see the $1 million houses go up. You'll see that 800, 700,000 go up. For a lot of them, maybe schools don't play a part. I don't know exactly the reason, but here's the deal. Don't give up on the next 6 months. Go full focus, full attention, get really clear on what you want to do, and then know your reasons. Does anybody have a reason right now why they want to make the rest of this year the best year ever? What's your reason? It looks like you have one. I can see it on your face. You got a reason. Tell me it. What's your reason?
I got to get my base established in the real estate industry.
I love it. It's establishing a base. I love it. Anybody else have a reason? Between now and December, what's your reasoning for stepping up your game? For clarity, what is your reason? Anybody have a reason? Yes.
I want to finish this year strong so that next year's going to be even better and better and better and better. And we keep establishing that base and moving up.
Make the baseline move up with each and every year. I love it. I love it. Anybody got a personal reason?
Because they didn't think you succeed.
What's that? Say that again.
Because they didn't think you
Ooh, somebody didn't think you could do it. It's time to prove. I love that. What were you going to say? Somebody had their hand up, please.
I owe it to my family.
Ooh, I love that. It's a responsibility. I love that, right? It's your responsibility and your obligation, as Grant Cardone would say. Now, I'll tell you this last story. So here's the deal. The reason why I got fit is, and I'll wrap this up. If you look at, I have all the reasons here. I don't need to go back through them. But I have, we talked about the challenge. Anybody going to run the marathon with me? Who wants to run? Let's go. All right, come on. Let's go. You want to run San Antonio? I'll be there with you. We'll do it. You can do half or full. I'm with you. I always make my decision right at the halfway point. I'm like, half, full. We'll see. But see, if you have clarity, you don't have to make that choice when you know what you want. So last but not least, let me just share this with you. One of the main reasons why I started working out is I had a point in my life where I got to the heaviest that I'd ever been. And I had this idea came into my mind that if I didn't do something, that my granddaughter, and I don't know why it's always a granddaughter. My son's 9, just for the record. But my granddaughter, and I already know her name. I've already talked to Enzo about this. I'm like, your daughter's going to be named Jordan. I'm just letting you know that now. But Jordan, if I don't take care of myself, Jordan is not going to see me. That's my reason for getting out of bed, for going to work out. And in the beginning, I had to literally visualize Jordan in the corner watching Grandpa as I was just struggling to box with my trainer, Tony. As I was just pouring out and going, I don't want to do this anymore. This is too hard. That was in 2016. Now you fast forward, I've run about 4 halves and a full. I ran the full last year. My life has completely changed. I did a 65-mile bike ride this last weekend in Bernie, the Tour de Bernie. It's completely changed, but it's because I got really, really clear on the reason why I wanted to work out. And it's because I want to see Jordan. So with that, I just want to say thank you. I want to challenge you. I got some homework for you because y'all know I was a former teacher, right? So I got some homework for you, right? So personal growth is not a matter of learning new information, but unlearning old limits. Personal growth is about unlearning old limits. The limits that we put on ourselves to say, I can't be a $20 million producer. Why? Who said? Who says that? The limit, I can't be a $10 million producer. Only so-and-so can do that. Listen, you're going to have to start unlearning old limits and really figuring out what it is that you want. And so you need to get really clear on what you want. That's the homework. What do you want? And then you got to figure out, list some reasons why you want it. Why do you want it? And then I would get a journal. I'm a big journaler. I love journaling. And journaling is where you get to reflect and you get to put down on paper this plan, that business plan. You get to put down on paper these reasons, like my granddaughter Jordan that I always talk about. And you could put those goals inside there. And then lastly, you need to read them and think about them daily. I did it. 20 minutes. Michelle, thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you, Jennifer. I appreciate it. Thank you.